You are not forgiven for what you did to us on Tuesday night, Oxford United, but it's a start. Hello everybody, it's Ian here once again from OUFC Fan View, and it's time for another review of another Oxford United game. After the horror show that was Bolton away on Tuesday night, Oxford were on the road once again today. They were away at Port Vale. Tuesday night's 5-0 defeat to Bolton was a complete and total humiliation. You can see my report on it in the top corner right there if you really want to go and relive it. And it left a lot of people, myself included, just thinking it's going to be season over. But of course, that is not the case. There still was 8 games to go, still 24 points to play for, and still a chance that Oxford can get into the playoff spots. It started today away at Port Vale, and Oxford quite simply needed a response and they needed a win. And probably the fixture list above all else was a bit kind to us today, giving us Port Vale away, who were a side really struggling, and it probably was the perfect opponent to run into after what happened on Tuesday night. Oxford needed a win. Oxford got a win. Was it perfect? No, not really, but Oxford got the win. It finished Port Vale 0, Oxford United 2. We'll do what we always do. We'll go over all of it. I'll go over the team news, I'll give a match review, and I'll give my final thoughts for both sides. You can jump to any point of the video by using the timestamps down below, and please feel free to do so. But if you do, then please hit that like button, because that does help me out so much. And if you do like the content, consider subscribing. So let's have a look at the team news, and let's start with Oxford United. The Yellows needed to make changes, and Des Buckingham certainly did that. Joe Bennett back in at left back. Everybody's favourite player, Sam Long, is back at right back. Billy Bowden came into the side in an attacking midfield role alongside Ruben Rodriguez, which kind of left Cam Brannigan as the only holding player. And Will Goodwin actually finally started a game. It meant Greg Lee and Mark Harris dropped to the bench. Marcus McGuane and Finn Stevens were dropped out of the matchday squad completely, and there were returns to the bench for Tyler Goodrum back from injury, and a return for Marcus Brown. Wow, nobody saw that coming, but that is fantastic news for Oxford United fans. Let's just hope, really hope, he can stay fit. I did like the lineup. There were some things I liked, there were some things I questioned, but we will circle back to it in my final thoughts. Let's move on to Port Vale now, and there's no getting around it. It has been a tough season for the Valiants, and indeed a tough 2024, where they are yet to win in this calendar year. When Vale beat Oxford 2-1 at the Kassam Stadium, it was a crazy game back in September that they won by 2-1, and they were 4th in the table at that point under ex-Oxford United's Andy Crosby. Now they sit in 23rd place. Crosby has gone and has been replaced by Darren Moore. Moore, who joined about a month ago, is yet to win a game. He joined on a very long 6-year contract. But it was a decent result and a decent performance last time out for them away at Leyton Orient, getting a 0-0 draw, which is at least something they'll be hoping they can build on. It's one change for the Valiants from that side that got that 0-0 draw. Mitchell Clark comes into either defence or wing-back role instead of Tom Sang. It was a big game for both sides. Both sides desperate for a win for different reasons, and for those reasons alone, you really did not know what sort of a game you were going to get. Opening 10 minutes of this game, and both sides will probably be encouraged of how they started. Both sides looked okay going forward. Oxford looking dangerous down both of the flanks with Dale and Murphy. Port Vale looking okay going forward themselves, but did look like they'd cause Oxford problems from set pieces and long throw-ins into the box. But you knew the first goal would be crucial when it was Oxford who got it, and Oxford who got it from a corner of all things. Cameron Brannigan just whipped this corner in quite flat. Port Vale made a right mess of clearing the ball. I just think it hit a defender on about the 6-yard line. It bounced out to Ciaron Brown. Ciaron Brown was given all the time in the world to just spin on the ball and smash it into the bottom corner. Very nice close range finish from Ciaron Brown, and Oxford with an early lead. Familiar story for Oxford United. We've been here so many times. Can we build on this 1-0 lead? Well, not straight away, but from Oxford's second corner on about 25 minutes, they nearly got their second goal. Again, it's a flat ball in, which Vale didn't deal with, and it went right the way across goal. Elliot Moore did well at the back post and got the ball on target. It was a decent save by Ripley in the Vale goal, and Oxford were at points all over Port Vale in this first half. And again, it was the wide men, Murphy and Dale, having an absolute field day. Mistakes creeping in at the back for Port Vale. They just could not get any control over this game. Connor Ripley in the Port Vale goal came out on 32 minutes to head away a through ball, but didn't do a very good job of it and headed it only to Will Goodwin. Will Goodwin then got the ball, but Ripley didn't retreat back to goal. He went to sort of try and stop Goodwin and try and like jockey him out wide. He did a good job of that, but then Goodwin did get round Ripley, and it looked to me like Ripley brought Goodwin down in the penalty area, and I thought it should have been a penalty. Of course I would. I'm wearing my Oxford United hat, but the referee only gave it as a goal kick. I thought that was a bit of a let-off for Port Vale there. 39 minutes on the clock, and Port Vale make a double sub, and really it could not have come soon enough. They were really poor in this first half, but it didn't really mount to anything. We'll wait to see if that takes effect in the second half, but you can just sense the bad vibes around this stadium. It is tough for the Port Vale fans at the moment, and it was Oxford who went in at half-time 1-0 up. A very comfortable and deserved lead. Again, we haven't been able to get that second goal, which is bloody frustrating, and once again it is most of the good play seems to be coming from Owen Dale and Josh Murphy, especially Owen Dale. He looks so lively out there. Booed off Port Vale, and deservedly so. It's difficult to see where they are going to get a goal from, and if this was against any other side in League One, you'd probably be thinking it's game over already, but they are playing against Oxford United, and you know how we love to throw away 1-0 leads. There's still a lot to do for Oxford, but so far, it's acceptable. Half-time substitution for Oxford, and Will Goodwin came on for Mark Harris, and we'll certainly talk about that at the end as to why Will Goodwin's fitness can't see him play longer than 45 minutes. But you were hoping for a composed start to the second half from Oxford, but they nearly threw it away within a minute of the second half starting. It's heart-in-mouth moment, and everyone's favourite player, Sam Long, who plays a hospitable ball to Elliot Moore. And Wilson gets there ahead of Moore, and he can charge down on goal. Luckily for Oxford, he hasn't got the pace to really get away from the defence, and as he got towards goal, you did feel that Ciaron Brown was putting enough pressure on him, and it ended up with Wilson shanking the chance pretty badly wide. And as I say, Ciaron Brown did a pretty decent job of getting back to put cover on him. But then 3 minutes later, Oxford, who started to put a bit more pressure on Port Vale after that early chance, did make that pressure count and make it 2-0. Oxford were on the front foot, as I said, but it was actually from another corner, and it was a short corner this time, and Josh Murphy was just able to drift with the ball to about the edge of the area on the left-hand side. It's one of those ones where you can put a decent cross in, and hopefully, if it misses everyone, it might curl into the far corner. And that is exactly what it did. Fantastic from Murphy. He is in such a rich vein of form, and it's him who gets the goal. And deservedly, it was either him or Dale who should have got that second goal. Oxford finally get a second goal in a game, and hopefully we can put this one to bed now. From a Vale point of view, once again, it's very soft. Vale at least did give it a go, as Oxford kind of sat off, and you were kind of just worried that it might be mistakes more than anything else that gift a route for Port Vale back into this one. Wilson again, 53 minutes, fizzed an effort just wide. He was given space on the edge of the box. It was a good effort, but coming not really troubled. 60 minutes on the clock. Dale drives an effort wide from inside the area. It actually came from a wonderful pass from Elliot Moore out to Josh Murphy. He got the ball into the area, and I think between Harris and Bowden, they managed to get the ball back to Dale, who hit it well, but it was wide of the target. As you kind of thought, Oxford playing largely on the counter-attack now. 68 minutes on the clock. It's Ciaron Brown who started this latest attack. He won the ball in the Oxford half and drove about 40 yards with the ball right to the edge of the penalty area. Almost played Mark Harris in. The angle got a little bit away from Mark Harris, and he ended up shanking the chance badly wide. But just a minute later, up the other end, Wilson got himself in a pocket of space again, about 25 yards out, tried a shot from distance, again put it wide, but again it was a decent chance, and he really should have been testing coming from there. 73 minutes on the clock, and it was still 2-0 to Oxford, and it was still relatively comfortable, but Oxford weren't looking comfortable or controlled in possession, gifting the ball back to Port Vale and giving them the chance to create attacks. And I think on 73 minutes they were good substitutions that Des Buckingham made, bringing on Josh McEachran and bringing on James Henry did sort of give Oxford a bit more control. And on 78 minutes it was a fine Oxford United move, and Brannigan played in James Henry, who was wide on the right hand side in the penalty area, and he took a touch and played a lovely slide rule ball across the penalty area to Josh Murphy, who could have hit it first time but opted to take a touch, and by the time he did that, Connor Ripley came out and smothered the chance. But it was just a minute after that where Port Vale really should have got back into this game, and it came from an Oxford United mistake, and it did come from Josh McEachran playing a horrible blind ball out from the back, really on the edge of the box. We should not be playing that ball, and it was cut out by Wilson. He was able to get wide down the left hand side, Oxford United's right, hit a low cross into the area, came across to De Pepper at the back post. He looked certain to score, but it was a brilliant block by either Joe Bennett or Ciaron Brown, and Oxford were able to breathe a sigh of relief and get the chance away and keep their clean sheet intact. De Pepper actually looked pretty lively when he came on. I wonder whether he might be one that Port Vale might look to start with. I know he is still a young striker. And that was kind of the last chance, really. Oxford pushed and tried to get a third goal on the break, and Marcus Brown did come on, and it was good to see Brown come on. But Oxford just could not get that third goal. Port Vale never really looked likely of getting back into it after they did miss that chance with about 10 minutes to go. And the game kind of petered out, and that isn't a bad thing, because it petered out with an Oxford United win. And thankfully, we're back to winning ways. It wasn't pretty, but it's a win. And we'll talk about it more in the final thoughts. And let's start with the home side, Port Vale. And it's a really tough time for Port Vale fans at the moment. And you could really feel that in the ground today. As soon as you gifted Oxford that 1-goal lead, you felt the shoulders slump with the players. You felt the fans going through a here we go again moment, and you could just feel the apathy around the place. We were there last season. We went on a long winless run of 17 games, and every game felt like torture, and you just never saw that a win was in sight. And so I can really feel what you're going through. My biggest worry is you really just did not. We're in a really bad trot. We look ropey as well at the back. And I really feel like Port Vale didn't really test us today. It didn't really look like you were going to score a goal. I felt your best chance was probably bombarding the balls into the box, but you really went away from that plan quite early. And you can just see it's a side that's really struggling. Darren Moore, you're probably going to be looking at next season before you see any improvements in what he does, but maybe he still can turn it around. Maybe you still can get out of this tailspin and move up the table and get out of the relegation zone. I'll be interested to know your thoughts. From what I saw today, I think it's going to be a real struggle for you. But let me know in the comments down below. Let me know what you think needs to be done in order to change it so you can get some results and get out of this dogfight. Or if you do go down or you're resigned to it, let me know what you think needs to be done next season in order to try and get a promotion season or have a good season in League Two. I know it's a tough time at the moment, and I do appreciate if there are any Port Vale fans watching it. It's not ridiculing, I'm not Mickey taking. Oxford have been there before, and I know it is horrible. Good luck for the rest of the season, and I do hope that you can turn it around. It's going to be a dogfight, and hopefully you can find some results. And that brings me on to Oxford United, and as I said at the start of the video, it doesn't redeem what happened on Tuesday night, but we needed a win today. All you can do is beat what's in front of you, and thankfully we played against one of the poorer sides in the league who were going through a really poor run of form. It couldn't have stacked up any better for Oxford United, and we did enough. We did what we needed to do. It wasn't overly convincing. Again, we had a lot of control of the game, which without creating a huge number of clear-cut chances, but really we should have been doing what Bolton did to us and going for more goals and going for a bigger margin of victory. But that being said, it's one of the strangest weeks you could imagine. We started it with a scrappy 2-1 win over Cheltenham. We get absolutely spanked by Bolton, and then we come back and we get a win today, and we end up ending the week in the playoffs, which is unthinkable after Tuesday night. There's bigger tests to come, but at the moment, for the next few weeks, that is what we are going to be tested with, is playing sides down the bottom or in the relegation zone, and we need to beat them, and that's all we're going to have to do, and that's a good start. And now we've got a week off to kind of reflect on it, and then we have to go again against the likes of Shrewsbury, against the likes of Fleetwood. It doesn't fill you with a huge amount of confidence going forward, and it doesn't fill you with any confidence that we would be any test for any side of any note in the playoffs, but it is a start. I thought Des Buckingham had to change the side around, and I thought by and large, I thought his decisions were quite good. I was quite happy to see Joe Bennett come back into the side. I thought he played well. I thought Ciaron Brown was excellent today. I gave him a lot of criticism after the Bolton game, but I thought he was great at the back today. And I'm quite glad Sam Long played. I know we give him a lot of criticism, but I thought we needed that solid head in there today. He's always going to have a mistake in him. He's not perfect, but he was solid today and did okay. And I like the attacking intent of playing the two attacking midfielders, I should say, of Bowden and Rodriguez, and leaving Brannigan to just hold the midfield on his own and let more players try and get into the box and get onto the end of it. Because the real strength are the wide guys. The real strength is Josh Murphy and Owen Dale, who are in electric form, and that is where all of our danger seems to come from. But Owen Dale especially gets Oxford United up the pitch and gets those ball-playing players like Rodriguez and like Bowden playing football in higher areas of the pitch, which is a lot better than seeing the slow and sideways passing being done by the defenders. Didn't see a lot from Will Goodwin. I thought he was okay in the first half. We weren't able to really create any clear-cut chances for him. I thought Port Vale were very physical with him in defending him. And it's a bit worrying that he can't play a full game. I don't mind Mark Harris coming on, and I thought he livens things up when he comes on with his pace and his enthusiasm. But why can't Will Goodwin play a full game? Is he still carrying a knock? Which is very disconcerting. He's not an old guy. He's a young player. And he doesn't seem like he's recovering from this injury, which is very disappointing, really, isn't it? We were really hoping for a lot more and hoping that he would really give us a different dimension to our game. But we're really yet to see it yet. And maybe a week off and maybe a week of training and a bit of time away, and who knows, everyone's going to come back like $1 million. We're clutching at straws, but yeah, that disappointed me a little bit, and maybe kind of exposes problems that we have up front. Good to see Tyler Goodrum on the bench. Good to see Marcus Brown get a substitute appearance as well, and we're just hoping he can stay fit, because he could make a big difference. He is a game-changing player for Oxford United, and if he can make an impact in these final 7 games, he could be the sort of player that lifts the rest of the team up. But he is obviously a very good option to come off the bench. So there are encouraging things for Oxford United, not least that we did make a clean sheet. Let's give a little shout out to Jamie Cumming as well today. He didn't really have too many saves today, but I just thought his decision making was a lot better. Some bobbles on the pitch didn't help his kicking stats, but generally his decision making was pretty good and he looked more assured. And clean sheets have been rare as hen's teeth. And yeah, it was a poor Port Vale side, but at least we got a clean sheet against them. So let's see what you made of it, Oxford United fans. Let's see your comments down below. It's nice to have a bit of positivity to talk about for once, other than after wading through comment after comment where it looked like the world was about to end. But there was one guy in my comments who was gushing, has been gushing with praise for Des Buckingham for weeks and weeks, and that is Matt Halsey. He loves the guy, and he floods the comments with how much he loves and supports Des Buckingham. So above all else, that victory was for you, Matt. But we can enjoy our Saturday evening, and we've got a bit of a break from Oxford United football now, as mercifully that Lincoln game was postponed, because I really didn't fancy playing them next weekend, because you've really feared that might be another Bolton Wanderers occasion, the way they are going at the moment. And we leave with Oxford in the playoffs. Promotion's back on, baby. We're getting up to the Championship. Maybe. One step at a time. A win is a win, and I'm happy we got the win. And enjoy your Saturday evening, Oxford fans. Leave your comment down below. I'll be back to do a review. I think it might be Good Friday for the Shrewsbury game, where Oxford will no doubt make it 2 wins from 2 in this triumphant promotion push. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.